Yeah. I'm getting quite decovenant about the very thought of it. But, you know, when you could say, I told you so, at that point, but you choose not to, because you're gracious. But secretly in your head that's what you're screaming, I told you so, I told you. And they know that's what you're thinking. Stupid. He knows who he is. He's one of the gang here. But I'll tell you, there's a couple of facts you can use just to elicit that feeling, if you want. So, for instance, just, maybe next time you're with friends in a pub, maybe the sort of person who's quite argumentative, just say to them, oh, you know that thing about when you die, your hair and your fingernails continues to grow? Not true!
Myth, really?
It is a myth! It is not true! Alright, so, you will be able to get the last laugh, because they will go, no, it's true, right? And then you'll text...
An arbitrary thing to bring up. Apropos of nothing.
No, but there's always some reason to bring up death, isn't there?
Well, I guess so.
I'll tell you one of the good reasons, maybe play this new tune by White Lies. Death. Huh?
That's good.
That was pure luck. Forthcoming single from White Lies. That's Death, released on the 22nd of September. Steve Show, 6 Music, and I'm very pleased to welcome Scroobius Pip to the studio. A round of applause, please, in the Steve Wright style. Thank you so much. Do we call you Scroobius Pip?
Pip, and however you're most comfortable with. People originally went with Scroob, but then Pip has become the more popular of the lot.
Scroob, they used to call you Scroob.
Scroob.
Oh, Scroob.
Scroob,
Yes,
yeah.
I quite like Scroob.
Scroob,
But I'll go with Pip.
Scroob.
I'll go with Pip.
Honestly, whatever you're most comfortable with.
What about Chief?
Chief works.
Hello, Chief.
Yeah.
Because for those of you that have not seen Scroob before, he's got quite a distinctive beard. I'm sorry that that must be something that people. But in order to try and create a visual picture,
the attention to my beard. I spend a lot of time on it.
But it puts me in mind of perhaps a man who would work in a country pub.
Yeah.
I would come in. I would have my own tankard behind the bar, and I would call you Chief. Pint of ale, please, Chief.
Exactly. That is the look that I've set out to achieve. So
You've done it brilliantly.
It's nice that it's been picked up upon. It's fully appreciated.
We've done a wonderful job. And firstly, a quick question. These are obvious questions, but I feel we should get them out of the way. How did you pair up with Dan Lassac?
We kind of, we knew each other for years, but didn't really know it. Like we lived in the same town and didn't know each other, that kind of. And then we kind of re-met over MySpace, as cliched as it is.
Oh, really?
We kind of started making music that way because we worked in the shop together, and if you're doing music stuff, you don't hang out at work. You go, "You all right? How's your day?" But all right, here's a CD of my music.
Of course.
Okay, see you later. Whereas on MySpace, it's up there, so it's kind of. We were thrown into knowing what each other were doing. And
So do you feel that there was a long period where he was just making these incredible beats, and you just thinking, oh, if only I had someone.
I think that's it. And he's
you
got
were there.
like big sideburns. He was thinking, I haven't quite got the full face
Exactly.
to go.
Only I knew a barman.
Exactly.
And at last. And so you just got in touch with him. He got in touch with you.
I was doing a tour of the country, living in a van, and I contacted him. And he booked
You were
me for a
homeless.
gig.
You were homeless for a period.
Effectively, hence the appearance.
Sure.
And he booked me for a gig, and when I got there, he'd remixed one of my tracks because he was doing a live set of beats as well. And yeah, all stemmed from there.
And how long have you been working together then?
Only like 2 years, I think, or two and a bit maybe.
And is it because we played a tune earlier, but for those of people that aren't sort of familiar, it's quite a distinctive sound. It's obviously electronica. Is that fair?
Yeah, it's
to term
kind
it?
of. I said it's easier to describe separately. That Dan kind of makes electronic, almost hip hoppy beats, and I do kind of spoken word, and it verges into a bit of rapping at times. But yeah.
And so were you? Did you set out as a kind of poet? Was that your thing?
Doing spoken word. I think it was kind of. As everyone rebels against what they were told as a kid, and I was told not to talk to strangers, and I feel my career choice was just, a big rebellion against that.
Right.
And stand up talking to strangers.
Yes.
A strange thing to choose to rebel against, granted, but I think it's one I saw was most appropriate.
It's a general good piece of advice, that, don't talk to strangers.
But, evidently not. I'm doing all right by it.
It puts me in mind, actually, of one of your the tunes we've played in the past and we've enjoyed enormously, where you actually, one of your things is you say, "Thou shalt not think that any male over the age of 30 that plays with a child that is not their own is a paedophile. Some people are just nice." Surely safer to assume that they are a paedophile and stay away.
Yeah. Well, again, it's opinions, it's views.
Yeah.
Again, it's a tough subject for me to talk upon. Again, with my appearance, I have a slightly paedophilic look.
You have got a
So
slightly
it's a
look.
tough one to kind of broach, but it's something I felt I wanted to speak up against.
But surely that's exactly what a paedophile would say. Well, don't set fire to my house because I'm just a nice guy.
yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough
I
one.
bet that's what Glitter said in court. But, there we are. Thou shalt not judge a book by its cover. It seems like good advice. I do all the time. I'm a busy man. I judge CDs by the cover. Your CD had a great cover. That's why I listen to it. Others go straight in the bin.
On our CD, it was all like plasticine versions of us. Dan's body looked exactly like a Malteser. I don't know why I felt I had to throw that in.
No,
it's
but
something
again-
that attracted me to the cover.
Of course it
upon
is.
re-listening.
It says one of yours which I enjoyed. Thou shalt not judge Lethal Weapon by Danny Glover.
Yeah.
Are you slagging off Glover?
No, that line doesn't really make any sense.
No,
It's simply
because-
rhymed. I love Danny Glover. It's kind of implying that I like to think of it.
It
as
makes you sound like you're a racist paedophile.
Yeah, no, which is
The worst kind, if you don't mind me
I
saying.
think it's the opposite. It's saying that Danny Glover is far above the actual quality of Lethal Weapon in
see.
reality. So Lethal Weapon's a great film, but don't judge it by Danny Glover's performance because that makes it an Oscar-winning kind of film.
Sure.
But
Now you're
really, it's simply
Now
action.
you're
slash
patronising
comedy.
Glover. You're patronising Glover. Glover
I
is
love
not
Glover.
getting an Oscar-winning
I love
performance.
Glover. He's done so much for facial hair in the public eye and in celebritydom, and it's he's a trailblazer in that respect.
Thou shalt not go into the woods with your boyfriend's best friend, take drugs and cheat on him. Is that from the heart?
Sound bit of advice. Yes, it is from the heart. Bizarrely, it actually happened twice to me with two different best friends and two different girlfriends.
Wow.
So that's why I've stopped doing drugs and hanging around with people that do drugs.
Move away from the woods as well.
Yeah, stay away from the woods. Can you take us into the heart of darkness there, or is it too intimate
It
for you?
pretty much sums it up. Yeah. Again, I'm friends with them all now, and they're lovely people. Just to clarify that,
Yeah.
so there's no bitter attack in here. But yeah, it was just a situation where a friend of mine and a girlfriend of mine. We'd all had a night out. I was like, I'm going home to bed. They're like, oh, we're going to keep partying.
Sure.
I was like, fine, I'm a trusting guy. I was like, fine, keep partying. As long as my best friend's there to look after you.
Yeah.
And he did too good a job of looking after.
No, that's a heck of a good job, isn't it?
Yeah, but
Was it Duchovny?
it was.
Oh,
Them woods.
you can't blame Duchovny. Thou shalt not use poetry, art, or music to get into a girl's pants. Oh, come on. That's the only reason it exists.
It's arguably, yeah, but
The only reason anyone ever paints a picture or writes a song is to get into someone's pants, surely. Don't be so
I
naive.
don't know. Maybe I'm naive there. Maybe it is my own naivety.
You say use it to get into their heads.
use it to get into their heads.
Yes, in order to then get into their pants.
No, but then if you go into their heads, it can be a repeated, ongoing
just work their way down.
situation. You use it directly into the pants, then it's it's once and it's
Sure.
it's gone.
But in their heads. Yeah, but you
If
know
you're a
what?
true sex addict, you're playing for the long game. Duchovny doesn't mess about with his little bits. He knows if he's addicted, he needs to have regular ports of call for when things dry up. It's textbook.
Listen, Scroob Pip, I would love to get you to lay something down for us, but we'll play some music before that, and then maybe we'll come out and you'll give us something.
Lovely.
How do we do? Do we just sort of term it spoken word? Is it laying down rhymes?
Spoken
Is it-
word. I'm not. I'm a white person who lives in a small town in Essex. So I can't really put any laying down rhymes or ghetto style
Sure.
vernacular onto it. So speaking is generally how I like to describe it.
Pip will do some speaking for us after Friendly Fires. The hotly tipped self-titled album is released tomorrow. That's Friendly Fires, of course, and an album track, Paris. It's Steve Show, 6 Music with me, Steve Merchant, and my gang, and we've got Scroobius Pip here with us live in the studio. Another round of applause, please, in the Steve Wright stuff. Just welcoming back after that track. And so, yes, you're happy to lay something down for us without Dan laying down beats?
Yes.
Yeah, happy. Sorry, I'm pressing the wrong buttons. You're happy to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Shall I go straight into it?
I don't know. How would you prefer me to try and introduce you?
No, it's fine. That just cause unnecessary words, which when I've got carefully structured words, unnecessary words are.
Will confuse you.
Yeah, it'll just cause.
Do you need to
problems.
just go silent for a moment to get in the
No,
zone?
I'll just go straight into it. It's about on the Duchovny kind of tip. It's about going to a club and seeing an ex or person you've used your sex obsession upon, as
Sure.
Duchovny would have, and not really wanting to see them. So
I understand.
I'm going to try and remember not to swear as well, which
Please
is
do.
a bonus. Of all the gin joints in all the world, Of all the female forms I've held, the one that haunts my night and day has found tonight to me her way. Of all the eyes mine could have met, of all the things I still regret, the one mistake I can't admit tonight is these four walls betwixt. And I know what happens on drunk nights like this, and from the drunk words that pass her lips, it's clear she no longer wants relationships. She wants sex. So I guess that's all this is. I guess that love stuff's just for teenage kids. But I'll stay focused even though my mind's a blur. I'll just walk straight up and... hang on a minute, that ain't even her. That's a lad with slim hips. The way the light was casting a shadow, it looked like he had... But it doesn't matter. I didn't want our paths to cross. I didn't want her to know I'd found the love we once thought was lost. It was in an old Valentine's Day card from when we first got together, just a simple line, nothing mushy or clever. You have succeeded in convincing me that you are in fact a nice guy. But it's cool. I'll stay focused. I saw some lovely girls earlier, they can't have gone far. Why do we always end up in gay bars?
Thank you. Fantastic, that was wonderful. Were you bullied at school?
A little. I've got a stutter. I've got a speech impediment.
I didn't notice it.
Really easy on the first day of school when people are looking for someone else to take the focus when they're calling the register and they call Scrooby as Pip, which is obviously the name I was christened with. Sure. And there's a staggering kind of hit. Yeah, it's easy target. But it wasn't too bad. I kind of made light of it. It was good fun.
The reason I mention that is because it seems to me that so many things which are, I mean, for instance, writing poetry or writing any kind of spoken word stuff, I imagine it takes great discipline. You've got to sit there, you've got to work hard, and there's often a reason why you would rather spend time buried away, squirreling away at that than, out, perhaps hanging out, at the street corner drinking cider.
No, that's the weird thing. I didn't really start. I've only been writing and that for a few years. I didn't particularly do it at school. I've not got any English literature or English language qualifications or training. It basically stemmed from, I was in a few bands, like playing a bit of bass and writing a bit of lyrics and I just hated having to rely on other musicians because we're generally an unreliable bunch. So spoken word seemed to be one I didn't have to rely on anyone else other than myself, so I could just write and perform. If someone tried to book for a gig, I didn't have to ring 10 people to see if they can get the evening off of work. I could just go, yes, I will be there.
And you mentioned having a speech impediment. Is that something, do you feel that the kind of public performance is that one of the reasons you were attracted to it, do you think, in order to do battle with it?
Not particularly, but I do think it, in a way, it helped I build my vocabulary and build the ability, because again, from quite a young age, having a stutter, I'd know certain words I was going to stutter on, so I'd be thinking a few lines ahead. So, I mean, always confused. Dan always finds it odd that when we're doing sound checks and that, I'm not concentrating on the words. I'll be sending text messages while sound checking, because it's kind of, I've got the ability to have kind of two trails of thought at once, strangely. And it's from that where I'd be thinking a few lines ahead and thinking of a word to replace the word I was going to stutter on, and that kind of has built up the vocabulary and things like that, I think.
Yeah. Wow.
Instead of reading books and the traditional way of getting an education.
Yeah. And we were talking earlier as well about sort of anything that gives you a tremendous sense of self-satisfaction, small pleasures in life, anything that springs to mind. One other fact, by the way, that you can, I take tremendous pleasure in poo-pooing people's conversations, and that thing, you've probably heard that, we only use 10% of our brains.
Yeah.
Nonsense.
A classic one, and one of the most obvious is a great wall of China
that you can see from the moon.
Ridiculous.
No, you're a liar.
It's a thin wall.
You're a fool.
No matter how tall or long it is, it's a thin wall. You can't see the yellow lines from space, and they go all around London for miles.
If you hear someone if you hear someone at another table, not even your own friends saying it, just lean across.
It's worth intervening.
Yeah, you embarrass yourself. But anything else that gives you small pleasure?
Again, it's a weird one, but I've found that my brother and me, I don't know if it's just a thing in our family, but just using cotton buds. Oh, it's hugely pleasurable. A good clean with a cotton bud. Sometimes I'll leave it a few days just so I've actually got, some
enough
kind
gunk.
of enough to dispose of.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll leave my bladder full for a couple of days just so that final.
Though, to be fair, Steve, I do actually do that.
I know we've discussed it in the past.
Yeah, I can hold it in for a few days, and it does feel sensational when you let it out again.
Did you just shake your head and say you've never